using all of my energy to not be seasick right now.
24-hour sail trip with meter-high waves in a tiny little boat somewhere halfway across the world with a couple that you just met on the internet? Like, what were you thinking? This is Leah Wei, also known as Leah's Field Notes. And watching her vlogs feels like hanging out with a nature-loving, travel-friendly, thoughtful friend. She's got a background in graphic design, she taught herself the craft of filmmaking, and she's just pushing her skills forward with every new upload.
I didn't even know people made shot lists or thumbnails. These are things very recently that I learned.
We're walking through her videos together to see how she's leveled up her filmmaking skills.
I'm so slay. I'm like killing this color grade game. And looking back, I'm like, bruh, still so overexposed.
And what makes her work so playful and vulnerable.
Whenever I discover this like new way of filming or editing, it kind of like reinvigorates the fire to create again.
Leah.
Hello.
Welcome to Digital Spaghetti.
Thank you so much, Zach.
So psyched to have you here. We've got a bunch of your videos preloaded here. And I want to go through clips of your work and talk about when you started making changes to your process and kind of what you've learned along the way of your vlogging career.
Sounds great.
Okay, we'll start with this first clip here. So is this like the first time you started using typography, basically?
Yeah, so this was after I graduated from my graphic design degree. I tried working a studio job. I didn't really like it, and I'd been making videos for fun just the past summers throughout university, but this was the first time where, I was like, let's see if I can make a career out of this. And this was in the pandemic. I've been watching a lot of Korean silent vlogs to calm my nerves, and it's a lot of reading captions, so they don't actually talk to you, and I found that extremely therapeutic.
Korean silent vlogs? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, like silent Asian vlogs where they'll just like cook or be like housewife vibes. They'll like wake up at 5 a.m., like clean the house, bake bread. It's very calming. So I think like after I graduated from school, where I thought I was gonna like come to SF and be like a UX designer, and then I realized when everything shut down, I was like, oh, I don't think that's my dream. That's more of like the dream of my peers that I was kind of like getting caught up in. And I just needed a way to like calm down, relax, be at peace. So those videos really helped me out. And instead of having all the type on the bottom, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have the viewer's eye guided throughout the screen, kind of interact with the framing of the image. So yeah, this is what I started playing with when I began my full-time weekly YouTube journey.
Wes Anderson does this really well, where he kind of knows where the eye is looking on the frame based on like how the shot is composed. And then he'll put the typography like right where your eye is looking. And as you're like looking around the screen at various things, the words pop up. Oh, and it feels like magic because it feels like the words are sort of coming at where you're looking naturally. And this feels a little bit like that.
That actually reminded me on my year of exchange in Germany. I went to watch Isle of Dogs in the theater there. And I think that really blew my mind for how typography could be incorporated into video. So I think even though this was made maybe like 2 years later when I started doing that, that's definitely somewhere in my psyche.
Okay, so you studied graphic design.
Yes. And
how does that like influence your videos, do you think?
Definitely in the beginning, since videos are just like a weekly project rather than like months span of like branding or whatever design, I was just having so much fun being able to pick different fonts, like pair them up and just play with the ways that they would show up on screen. So I think in the beginning, the graphic design background is like very prevalent in my videos.
Are you thinking about that? Or like, what are you applying to your, like as you're filming, what are you applying to your process of composing a shot and shooting that you learned from graphic design, if anything?
Okay, to be honest, I think the way I shoot and frame shots is very unplanned. Like I don't think about it too much. I'm more just like pointing at it and I'm like, okay, this looks nice. And then the text is stuff that happens after. So none of this is like pre-planned. It's just like me chopping the clips up to the music, and then I'm like, oh, what do I want to like say during this? And then I'm like dragging the clips around, and I kind of like put myself in like the user persona of like, okay, how much time do I need to read this and read that? So yeah, it was kind of more on a whim, I would say. Like filming this video, I didn't know how to share my skincare routine. I tried like talking, just sitting there like to a camera about my skin, but I was like, hey, this is really boring. But I needed to get a video out that week. So I kind of just started filming with like my first ever camera that I got in grade 6 for like taking photos underwater with my friends in their like backyard suburbia pool. Fujifilm XP. So I started filming with this, and I found because it was such like a little like dingy camera that it didn't make me feel nervous at all to like start that video making process. So in the early stages, a lot of my videos and vlogs start with footage from this camera. It's like a way to ease myself in.
And is that what this is?
Yes.
Was that your only camera that you had?
No, later in the second half of this video, things become really clear again when I actually start showing my skin and the products. And I think I was using a Canon 70D because like Casey Neistat recommended it.
After starting my nomadic journey in big cities, I decided it was time to switch things up and move into the quiet English countryside. And here, for the first time in a while, I've noticed myself falling into a consistent daily morning routine that makes me feel so content and at peace. I really wanted to share it with you guys because I'm finally learning how to take things slow and how to start my mornings with the most equanimous version of myself.
Every shot here looks very intentional to me. Like they feel really balanced and symmetrical, kind of squared off shots. You're often like right in the center, or the action is in the center. The scene is kind of divided into two here with the sky and the foreground. I know you just said you're not thinking about shots, but this feels like you are thinking about the shots.
Okay, when was the first one filmed? 2020? This is 2 years later. I think my journey really developed as I went along. Like, as you can see here, I'm not really playing with typography anymore. This is when I got my like A7C.
And why this camera? What do you like about this one?
Also, a friend that's into filmmaking recommended it to me, Hanch, and I just liked it because it had a silver top. Yep. Yeah, that's right. I'm
Nice.
superficial about my cameras. So I was like, okay, it looks more like chill and friendly since it's not like all black.
And it is small, including the
Yeah.
lens. Like, that's a nice size. Fits in a backpack.
I think learning to shoot with that camera really started getting me on more of this like cinematic videography journey. Honestly, it's funny watching this. I'm like cringing because the way the things are like overexposed and stuff brings me pain. But I'm like, okay, like I was starting there. So, you know, good on me for doing that. I don't think I was color grading at this point. I'm not sure. I think it was just like the in-camera settings that I was playing with. But yeah, I think at this point I started to try and be more intentional with framing and shots. And I think having a nicer camera, bringing my tripod with me on trips, like putting more effort into like the filmmaking side of things. Whereas before it was more like just like bringing it around, more playful.
At this point, how many videos were you kind of putting out? And are you shooting with the intention of a specific story or vlog, or are you just kind of documenting your life for assembly later down the road?
I think at this point I had been traveling. I started my nomadic journey. I left Montreal, and it's pretty hard to have like a weekly posting schedule. Even before then, I think I'd stopped maybe like 6-7 months into making weekly YouTube videos because I always wanted to like one up myself. I was using graphic design to do that in the beginning, and there's just like layers, and I was designing things, and it's just like impossible to make a better video within this like 7-day span. So I remember, I was pretty anxious about it at that time, but I was like, hey, maybe it's a 2-week span. And then slowly the gap just kind of like enlarged. I think definitely battling like my own inner dialogue with pressure I would put on myself, and then also this newer lifestyle where I was traveling about and I didn't have like one set place to stay. I think with this one, the morning routine, I knew that I was filming this, and it actually made it a lot easier than collecting a bunch of footage to like mash up later, which is most of what I do. But I think I tried to plan this out, have a shot list. The intro clips here are just like things that I picked from different places. But I think having planned everything ahead of time made this video a lot easier for me to edit afterwards.
When you say like a shot list, did you actually have like some like map in a Google Doc or something with like a list of shots that you wanted to get, or like how like?
Oh, I had like my Apple phone notes with bullet points.
Right. Okay.
Like tea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meditation.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So super general, and then you kind of let the creativity happen when you're actually like doing the activity.
I think because I don't come from like a filmmaker background, I didn't even know people made shot lists or thumbnails. Like these are things very recently that I learned thanks to an amazing channel called Digital Spaghetti. Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
I know the library is meant for books, but I really like coming to the library for bookless activities like writing down dreams for the new year.
There's something that's been going on, like I think over the last 2 years on YouTube, where people are separating the camera and the mic. Clearly you're doing that here. Did you see other people doing it? I've started doing it too. It feels so good as a creator. I can't really figure out why. I think because you get to have this very close sounding voice in a very distant shot. There's something like really nice about that. But like tell us through your thought process of like separating mic from camera in this case.
I definitely did see someone else do it, I think, and I was like, oh, that looks really cool, and I wanted to try it myself. I think the satisfying part is that you feel more like you're living because the camera is so far away from you, or maybe you're not even looking at it, and then you can kind of shoot in these public places but have like a private moment because you're just like whispering into your microphone. And the fact that it's just my phone made it really easy. I really like incorporating new ways of filming because it makes me feel excited to make. And I think the more I've made YouTube videos, the harder it's become to get really excited about things. So whenever I discover this like new way of filming or editing, it kind of like reinvigorates the fire to create again.
100%. I mean, when I walked into this set this morning, I was like, let's go Digital Spaghetti. Like I was like full of like beans to make the show. Not that I haven't always been full of beans to make the show, but like little changes to your process or gear or like how you make something, it fills me with energy to like keep going on that thing. You know, there's something about iteration and like little 1% improvements that kind of just make you feel better as a creator. The other thing I'll point out is like if you just listen to your voice here, which you get a lot of comments about your voice.
Really?
Yeah. Do you read your comments?
Yes. Like I think the initial ones that come in.
I noticed there's like people talking about like, man, I love your voice. It's so soothing. Like people just, what you were saying about the Korean vlogs, the Korean silent vlogs, people say about your voice.
I really like coming to the library for bookless activities like writing down dreams for the new year.
Yeah, there's something about having a microphone right here that just feels more like, I don't want to say truthful, but like, you don't have to perform as much or like project as much for a camera that's like 10 feet away. You can just kind of like get lost in your own like thought process and kind of like,
you're just kind of like muttering to yourself, like wondering what the day's going.
And it feels more like a person and less like a YouTuber. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Speaking of which, do you have dreams for 2025?
I would like to get my O1 visa, come to New York, and I think because I met so many cool, like more filmmakers at Creator Camp who work on sets and do bigger productions and projects, I would really love to be a part of that or just do something in that in some kind of way. I think creating can be very lonely, you know, talking to your tripod in the library from 3 meters away. So honestly, I would love to just like tag along. One of the clips I think we'll pull up later is like me going back to China, the country I was born. So a lot of like movie or series ideas I have like the theme of going back to my birth country and exploring that. So I think the ideas I have are not things that I could do alone. And I think being in New York City is a place where I'm like, oh, I feel like I could potentially meet people that could kind of bring me closer to that path. Just even if I'm just like visually seeing them being able to do something, I feel like connect some like neural synapses where I'm like, oh, maybe I could do that too one day.
Did you enjoy the Switzerland Creator Camp?
85 creators from around the world were being sent to Switzerland in the name of creation.
You are the future of art and creation.
Oh, I loved it.
So I had a similar experience. It was amazing. What was it about that was so awesome for you?
I think I've just never been in a space where I saw so many creators all together and like being platformed and given the opportunity to even meet each other. And everyone is just like so kind, so inspiring, so dedicated to what they're doing. Like, I know we were in the Swiss Alps, but I realized I was just so excited about like meeting everyone that like being in the Swiss Alps is like an afterthought, which is crazy.
As a creator, do you hang with other creators, or was that rare for you?
In the past, I would say it was rare. Sometimes if I'm traveling to a bigger city, maybe I'll like hang out with some of them. But yeah, I think a big reason why I want to come to New York is just to be around other creators on like a weekly basis.
It's pretty incredible to think about how this whole place was built from nothing by a couple who had spent their whole lives in the big city. They sold all their belongings to buy this sloped piece of land and built these 4 little homes for their 4 daughters.
First time color grading?
Yes, I think some of the other shots are iPhone, but yes, the beginning shots were the first time where I was like slapping on the LUT and then like actually tweaking things. And again, looking back, I'm like, okay, like in the moment, I remember making this and being like, wow, look how beautiful the greens are. Like, I'm so slay. I'm like killing this color grade game. And looking back, I'm like, bruh, still so overexposed.
Well, good. It means you've gotten better at color grading. But it does stand out. I love this video. How were you color grading this, and how are you color grading now?
Maybe stylistically at the time, I liked the overexposed look or like low contrast, but I think I just maybe taste has changed, or I know how to like manipulate things a bit better now. I think the next step for me would be to use like DaVinci and really get into it. Like I met Ethan, uncurated Ethan on the trip, and he lives like literally 15-minute walk from me. So we would like edit together after the trip. And I think just like seeing other people's flow, and he kept convincing me to get it to the point where he's like texting me tutorials, or he would like take one of my shots from the Switzerland video I was editing, he put it on his computer, like slap on one of like their color grades and be like, look at this. And I'm like, oh frick, you're so right, like it looks so much better. That's like my next step to go.
The music plus the color grade, just it makes it feel like an alien world to me, or something like I'm getting to explore a new place. And I'm not sure if that's what you felt in that moment, but you really did a good job of like communicating this feeling of going to a magical, special kind of place. That's what it ends up feeling like.
Yeah, I feel like I have to edit to music. I didn't realize until later that professionally people do the cuts and then they put in the music after, but I feel like if there's not a soundtrack that I'm editing it to, it feels so gruesome and I don't feel that like excitement and flow. So once I think I was like trying to do it where I put music after to be a more professional filmmaker, and then I think I was doing this one and I was like, oh, this just feels so like dry. So I would like drag in the music, find music that I think really suited how I felt in the space, and then cut to it.
Wow, that's a great idea. I love that. Where did you get the music? Like, where did you get this track?
Epidemic Sound.
Oh, nice. Okay, and then so you find what do? You just like go down through samples until you like find something that hits the right emotion?
Yeah.
And then you drag that into, what do you edit in, Final Cut or Premiere?
I started on Premiere because it was a part of my like school subscription, and then I moved to Final Cut.
Okay, so then you drag it into Final Cut, and then you start putting picture in, like once you have the soundtrack that you want for a scene?
I think at this point I would dump all my footage into my timeline and then put the music underneath and then start chopping to it.
Each with their own unique personality, private living room to host their friends, cozy bedroom, a bathroom like no other, handmade furniture by their dad, and a spacious patio with an ocean view.
And is that iPhone mic? Is that what that is? Just like a phone mic.
Yeah, it's my iPhone.
Yeah.
And then the shots at the end are also on my iPhone.
And then why did you say you should get a better mic? What did you hear about the audio, I guess, in this that makes you feel like I need a better mic?
I think like the
yeah. Right. But you're also like, it feels close or something. It feels very intimate because
maybe it also feels like a voicemail. So I think there's like the side where the direction of like getting better tech is nice and exploratory, but then there's also something really lovely about simple tools, like having the iPhone that, I mean, I still record voiceovers with it, and I just find that I don't know, it like removes a barrier that makes editing feel hard or like where I'm overthinking. But like the simple tools kind of help to make my thoughts or what I'm recording feel more raw or honest.
Last year, I went to Beale for my friend Ella's birthday party, and we ended up on this little rental boat, and I had the best time jumping into the water, listening to music with my friends, and I finally comprehended why all these rich white people had yachts. And it got me thinking, what if I learned how to sail? So I logged into Instagram, made a post asking if anyone knew anything about how to get into sailing, and lo and behold, this girl, my age, from New Zealand, invites me to go sailing with her and her partner. Fast forward 10 months of...
This feels like a level up for sure. Do you feel that watching this or no? Does it still feel, are you still in cringe mode?
No, I think this video, I did work really hard on it. And the intro part I actually did at the end. The span of this video was like 30 days of sailing, being in Spain and France. So I'd never done such a big project before where I was like looking at all these clips and they were all recorded in a very like mishmash way. I didn't really have time to always like say a talking head narrative. So it was the first time where I was really like writing scripts and voiceovering everything after the video, and I think it might be like a 20-30 minute long video. And then the intro, I just had fun with it, like layering all these different clips together.
You also seem like you're a bit more comfortable on camera, talking to a camera. Is that the case? Do you feel comfortable talking to a camera now?
I think there's times where I like get out of practice and then it feels very new again. So, but then if I've been doing it for a while, I feel more comfortable.
I remember when I first started shooting, you know, I don't know, that's got to be 20 years ago or something like that. I had to like just record for 10 minutes before starting to say whatever I planned to say because I was just so awkward and weird on camera and couldn't like figure out how to just settle down.
I think I had to do that too at some point.
Really?
When I started making YouTube videos, it was like travel vlogs. And then in between my uni summers, I did like thrift hauls and stuff where I was just like talking about clothes. And I definitely had to just like mutter to the camera for 10 minutes beforehand. And I think I forget that now when I turn on camera, I'm like, why are you not just like saucing out what you're trying to say? Like, why are you so fumbly? I forget that was a thing and I need that time to like
warm up. Yeah, totally.
Of many emails and video calls later, I land in Alicante, Spain to spend the next 2 months with two people I had never met before. I had no idea.
When you get to Spain, everything looks kind of brown and the color looks different.
Yeah, so this was actually shot on my friend Alethia's camera with her like picture settings. So this video is like amalgamation of her like Ricoh camera shots, my Sony shots, the like Insta360 camera shots, like the little tiny camera. It was like so much footage and different types of footage, and I was like learning how to edit with 360 as well. So this was a big project for me, and I think by the end of it I was like, I don't even want to like add special things to the intro, but I ended up like drawing maps for it, and I think I really liked how it turned out.
The waves are about a meter high today, and we've just left Soyer towards Port de Blanes, and this is going to be a 24-hour passage. Oh my god.
Although it was a little bit choppy, it was excellent sailing conditions. I think that was like a good showing of the blend of like using the audio from real time, caption, and also voiceover. So I think it was like going back to my roots where I would caption everything and then, the typical like A-roll plus the voiceover to blend things together. So it wasn't really me scripting everything ahead of time, but I was really voiceovering as I cut and captioned everything. And so sometimes the voiceover is just like one sentence, but I think it helped to meld the scenes together.
Right.
To adjust our sails and scoop up as much of the wind as possible to propel us forward, we were able to turn off the motors completely and just go wind power.
I don't know if you feel it watching back, but this looks kind of hardcore. Like, that's a big thing to do like do a 24-hour sail trip with meter-high waves in a tiny little boat. somewhere halfway across the world with a couple that you just met on the internet? Like, what were you thinking?
No thinking, brain empty, no thoughts. And that's how I get myself into these things. Because the funny thing about the intro is like the inspiration is like me on this like motorized boat with my friends jumping into the water and being like, oh, rich people yachts, and then winding up like throwing up over a 24-hour passage. Yeah, it was crazy. This video made me get a gym membership after, because I was like, I am weak. I am weak. I cannot even pull a sail down by myself. I need muscles. And I also needed a better sleep schedule, better eating schedule, like better boundaries. I think this was so intense. It just really highlighted all the areas of my life that I needed to work on, because you just like can't hide from it. You like can't ignore it under certain circumstances.
Were you ever scared or nervous?
Yeah. Scared for my life? I don't think so, but like I grew up as an only child with a single mom. I had so much time to just like be by myself, do my own things. And I also have this very extroverted side where I love hanging out with people. And when I'm around people, I'm like, oh, I just want to like interact with them. Whereas I feel like people who have siblings kind of get like the parallel play. They can like be in their own world while being around other people. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something I'm still learning as an adult, that like through living on this tiny space together, there's points where I was like, I actually need to like go on a walk by myself, but we're like anchored in the middle of a bay and I can't just like walk off the boat.
Yeah.
So like learning to ask like, hey, can I like use the dinghy and like go into town, or like these things that kind of made me nervous. I'm like, oh, what if they think I don't want to hang out with them, or things like that. Yeah, just realizing like, okay, you need to like put yourself first in these situations so you can actually be mentally, emotionally, physically like better for you and all the people around you. I think one of the best things you can do for yourself on social media is honestly, at least for YouTube for me, signing out, not having subscriptions, and just like forcing myself to think about what it is I want to search for, what do I want to learn. Making your brain think about that instead of just the automatic scroll. That's a big difference too.
Is somebody else filming here? It seems like somebody is shooting.
I asked my friend to come with me to film this actually, because I wanted to film it outside, but progress from the hiding in the library with like a tripod, because then you're kind of constricted to like where you can place the camera. So I think because I had someone come with me, it was my friend who I'm very close with. It's not like a professional. I didn't feel like really nervous about anything. And the goal that day was just like, let's just have fun. And I really liked the streetcar shots we were doing. I'm going to be moving across the pond, because we were just like running in and out of these like Toronto TTC streetcars to try and like do the muttering mic thing for the intro and like get a nice like lighting angle. And something about that just felt so playful and enjoyable. I think I hadn't made a video for several months at this point, just didn't feel super inspired and was going through like a hard period in life. So this was like me coming back out of hibernation almost.
What were you going through?
I think there's a lot of personal stuff, breakup, trying to figure out my relationship with YouTube and the opinions and like judgments of other people. I would say I'm not someone with a very thick skin, but from this career path, it's something that has been developing, which is nice.
Are you talking specifically about comments, or is there something else that
I think sometimes there's certain comments or like maybe like misunderstanding from certain videos that it's like such a small percentage too. I hate talking about this because I'm like, it's just this like one grain.
I know.
And I'm like getting so in my head about it when like 99% of people are so supportive, so nice, that I'm like, why am I even being like this? But yeah, I think that was like a journey I had to go on to feel more confident in myself.
And what got you to that point? Or are you still kind of dealing with it?
I think I just developed better tools for thinking about it. And actually from my personal life, I think it's maybe an aspect of people pleasing, but just realizing, I don't know, this sounds cheesy, but like everyone's going through their own thing. And like I do this, I'm like projecting my ideas onto other people when I form my opinions. So other people may be doing that to me. I think it's actually a point where, we all get triggered by different things. And there was a point in my life where I was like, well, like, Mom, why do you have to like react that way? And thinking like it's their responsibility to not trigger me. But in reality, that's something you need to work on within yourself. So I think me understanding that no one else is responsible for triggering me helped me feel better about like when I accidentally do something that triggers someone else, because that's like your own wound that you're working on. And I have my own wounds that we're working on. So we have to be accountable and responsible for ourselves. And as long as like the other person is being kind and well-intentioned too. So yeah.
Man, well said. I feel like that's like the journey I've been on for the last 2 years is like exactly that. I mean, I don't want to say like I've figured this out. I haven't. I'm still dealing with it and it still stings and all that. It's all true.
Same.
And at the same time, I'm able to like look at a comment. If I said something and somebody has like a really negative and they get super pissed, and I probably used to think like, oh, I did something wrong.
Yeah.
And now I have the feeling like, oh, that person is clearly very angry right now. And like, that doesn't mean I did something wrong. It just means they have a negative reaction to something for whatever reason. And I don't know what their reasons are, what their history is, or what their past is. And again, easier said than done. But that's kind of how I think about it now, at least similar to what you were saying.
I feel like very parallel experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though when friends asked, what have you been up to in China, I felt like everything I've done is somewhat mundane, but I've loved every moment of it.
You were in China for a year?
The plan was actually to go back for 6 months, and I went middle of this year. I came back earlier because my grandma was having some health issues, and there's just some unexpected things that happened in my life that I decided to leave after 2 months in Asia. I left China when I was 3 years old, so I feel like I never really got to experience what it was like to live there. And I think that's why the mundane daily life things like washing laundry on my balcony and like hanging it up feels almost special to me, because I don't know, it feels like I'm exploring an alternate universe that if I had stayed there. So yeah, it's something I think about a lot, like, oh, I wonder what I would be like if, you know, we never immigrated to Canada, if I stayed in China. And I wanted to explore that.
When you were living in China, did you have like a creator community?
Oh my gosh, no. I was like in the suburbs with my dad.
Let's go on my first date in New York City. I haven't dated anyone since my last breakup, so I'm kind of nervous, but this time around, I know exactly what I'm looking for, so all I have to do is sit back, relax, and see if he fits the bill. I delegated dish selection to him, and he did an amazing job. Or maybe the restaurant did, because everything tasted so good. It was all going great until dessert, where he started picking out every single chocolate chip from the ice cream, and I am not into a picky eater. When we left, I was feeling really cute with the flowers my friend gave me earlier, so I asked him to take a photo for me, secretly gauging his IG husband skills. And he turned me from 5'8" to 4'2". So what do you guys think? Would you go on a second date?
This is Reels. You're going vertical.
Yep. All videography, color grading out the window.
Right.
No more.
Right.
No brain cells.
Yeah. Are you actually filming your first date here? Like, is he holding the camera? And does he know that you're filming your first date? And how does he feel about that?
That's a lot of the comments. Okay, so one thing that I kind of love about short forms is like content that's kind of troll. And it's funny to see people's reactions, or some people get it. Some people are just so confused and other people are mad. I think this is the part of me that's like gotten over trying to make sure everyone is happy with what I make, and just
fucking with people.
I'm just going the whole other way. I'm like, I don't care anymore, guys. I'm gonna just do whatever I want. The technicality of the title, The First Date in New York City, this is my first date in New York City. So that's where I will leave it at. Does the other person know I'm filming them? Yes, they do. Is it consensual? It is consensual. So no one's being harmed in the making, which is a big concern of people, which I understand. And I don't know. I think it's just what makes the idea and content of this so funny and entertaining to me.
Is this chapter 2 of your work, or like how are you thinking about like what you're making now? Are you leaning away from YouTube more towards vertical, short form? Like, where's your head?
It's kind of interesting. I feel like this is almost playing into more what video making was to me at certain points, where I did like an ABG transformation.
We did it!
Or like gym bro like drags me to the gym.
I'm not really a huge fan of working out.
Where I was watching more like comedic funny things, so I was also like tapping more into that side of my personality. I think with the long form videos, it just started feeling like it was getting more and more serious, and every video was very introspective, and I love introspecting and I love talking about like feelings and reflecting, but then there's like the other side of me that does want to just be like blah 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 la 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 and do like silly things. So I think I've been watching a lot more reels and short form. It's funny because I think maybe in like a few years back, like 2021, when I had like a manager for a period of time, they were like, make shorts, make reels, this is the future. And I was like, I don't want to, like, I don't even like watching them. I don't have TikTok, like I don't want to do it. But I think now that I've actually enjoyed and found creators that I like who make short form, it inspires me to make my own take of it. So yeah, this is like my beginning of making reels and short form and things that are more like silly, entertaining, lighthearted, I think, to balance out the more serious video side.
When you think about like the next year, for example, like how much do you think you're going to be making long form versus short form versus something else?
I think I'll probably make more short form because it's something that's very new. I'm like learning how to do it, how to make interesting short form. It's a faster way to experiment. Kind of like when I was making weekly videos, I could try a bunch of different things, and I really miss that about creating, more like creating on a whim. Mm-hmm. So I think short form really fulfills that side of me, but I will still definitely make longer videos when I have, you know, a bigger story to tell.
Yeah, when you think about, maybe you don't think about yourself 5 years from now or even further out, like
32.
Is the career creation, filmmaking, like storytelling, is it something else? Like, where's your head?
I think I'll definitely be doing something creative. I would love to explore further with filmmaking, either like on a set with other people. Even this is like such a cool experience. Like I would love to experience something where I'm either one of the people behind the camera or someone in front, and we're creating something all together collaboratively. I think that would be probably the next journey. I don't know who or how that'll look like exactly, but yeah, I'm just ready. I'm ready for that. Yeah.
So we asked your friend Nay to tell us a little bit about you, and here's what she said. You can tell she creates with intention. Her concepts are easy to grasp and well thought out, but it feels like she creates without effort. It feels natural and fun, in no way overdone or forced. Simple, yet at the same time complex, which to me makes her a true master. Maybe that comes from her background of studying graphic design. That reminds me, she also beautifully infuses graphic design elements into her work.
Aw, that is so sweet. She is like one of my favorite people that I've met from making YouTube videos. And I always say like the most amazing part of doing YouTube is just the people that I've met. Like if literally everything disappeared tomorrow, just knowing that I still have all those friends and relationships I've made through that makes me so happy. I love Nay. I love her videos as well. I would say the exact same thing about her.
Well, thank you for coming in and taking some time and telling us about your process and creativity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.